Hi and welcome. Today we're going to review the DuroMax XP652WP, and this is the interior review video, so we're not actually going to show it in operation, but I'm going to go through the features as a user. And then I have another video which is the outside, and that'll go through the operation of the pump. But to start with, so we're looking at the front, what I would call the front of the engine here. You have a pull start, which is pretty traditional on a small engine. It's a Chinese Gen 2 engine, 7 HP OHV engine. You have your throttle control here, your tortoise and your hare, so you're slow and you're fast. It's got a nice big lever on it, pretty easy to use. You also have a manual choke, which is nice. It's manual choke, so again, a nice big lever, easy to use. And then over here you have your air filter. And your air filter is accessed by simply removing this top screw. And it is not a captive screw, so you'll want to hold on to it. And then pulling the cover off and pushing down and pulling it off. And there you have your air filter. Pretty straightforward to insert and remove. And then you'll want to put it back on kind of the same way it came off from that side. It is much easier to put it on from that side than it is to try and get it off from this side. If you try and pull it this way, you're going to have a bad time. So let me just screw that air filter back on and we'll move on. Okay, so this is the other side of the engine here, and what's important about this side of the engine? Well, the on-off switch, so you'll get it in the mail and it'll come in the off position, so you'll want to make sure to put it in the on position so you can start it. And then also your fuel shut-off is here, so you'll want to make sure your fuel is on. And then your gas cap up here, this is the gas tank. So a very large tank. I believe it's 0.9 gallons. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's 0.9 gallons. And they're saying right around 2 hours of runtime, and we'll see if that's the case in the next video. But you have a nice gas cap. It's got a captive chain on it, and it also has a filter. Yes, you have a plastic O-ring there, and then you also have a filter for large debris, so it filters that out. So we'll just put the gas cap back on. Nice and easy. And then down here you have your oil fill and your actual oil drain as well, which the manual reference is. But your oil fill is here. And so you simply unscrew this, and there is a nice dipstick along with it. And from the factory it has some oil in it, but of course, like any small engine, you'll want to make sure you put oil in it before you start it up. And then additionally it warns you, it says this engine is shipped from the factory without oil. So mine had some in it, but it's shipped without oil, so figure that one out. Now you're supposed to put a 30 weight engine oil in there, and I'm going to end up using a 10W30 for an automotive application. Real quick with the oil in these Chinese engines, I have these engines in generators, water pumps, snow blowers, and what I found is that after about the first hour of operation, I change the oil. And when I change that oil, it is black, and it has all sorts of metal particles in it. So after about the first hour of runtime, I change the oil. And then about 4 hours later, or 10 hours later, kind of depends on what you're doing with it, I'll change the oil again. And again, it'll have metal particles in it, and it'll be black. Not as black, but pretty black. And then after that, I go by the owner's manual. Now, the owner's manual for this particular application says you're supposed to change the oil after 20 hours. And I just think that's way too long to go, just from using these Chinese engines and from seeing the color of the oil. Now, I haven't sent in a sample to Blackstone, but other people have, and they support my conclusions. So let's walk through the specifications on the actual pump. Now, the pump here, and I'm going to try and get the camera up nice and close so we can see this. The pump here, model 170N-11, it's a 2-inch pump, 92 feet of lift, 158 gallons per minute, and 26 feet of suction. And then at the very bottom you see 64 pounds of weight. Wow, that's reasonable. I'm very happy with the 64-pound pump because it allows me to move the pump by myself. And you can see I can pick up the pump, I can move the pump. I don't need to have a wheel cart or anything else. So that's nice for a 2-inch pump to be very portable. Now on this side, what's cool here, and I kind of angled the pump so you can see this black valve here, and we'll talk about this first. This, some people call it a flapper valve, some people call it a backflow valve, but what it does is this is the suction port, and this valve allows your suction to stay primed after you shut off the pump to refuel or change the oil or whatever you need to do if you're keeping the suction primed. It's nice. It's a nice feature to have, and not all pumps have it. So this one does. The other thing you'll notice is there's two plugs, one plug, two plug. This plug is your priming plug, so you'll want to pour water in here to help prime the pump when you have your suction hose connected, and when you have your discharge hose connected, you'll want to pour water in here to prime the pump, and we'll show you that in the outside video. And then down at the bottom here, you have your drain hose, or your drain plug, excuse me. And your drain plug is also the similar type plastic plug with a little rubber gasket around it to help seal up and prevent leaks. So both of these are plastic plugs. Put that back in there. And that's the business side of this, your suction and your discharge, your priming plug and your discharge plug. Let's look at the last side here. Last side, you have a muffler up top, which is nice. It's away from the hoses, so you're not going to burn your hoses on it. You have your spark plug right here, easy access to that, and then you have your carburetor drain right here. Again, really easy access to that. I think it's a great package, and let's take it outside and see what it does.